Iverson asked if both Mike and myself would submit to a lie detector test, and he had also reached out and contacted Darwyn Jr. Mike and I agreed to do it, and Darwyn Jr. declined.
Did something just collapse under there and create that wave, or? I don't like what I saw on that one. It looked like there could be a car there.
It was a pretty regimented lie detector test. Did you have anything to do with your dad's disappearance? Do you know where he's at now? Do you know if anybody else brought harm to him? There were just a lot of questions like that.
Oh my God. That is, you're not gonna believe it. Today our case brings us to Boise, Idaho. We are in search of Darwyn Lee Hope, 92 years of age, vanished right here in Boise, Idaho, July 11th of 2016. There's a lot of information that's out here on Darwyn Lee Hope's case, surrounding his disappearance, circumstances prior to his disappearance. We're gonna get into all of that right now.
For families who have all but given up on finding their loved ones, this team is a last hope. Civilian divers cracking cold cases for free.
Darwyn was last seen at his home in Boise, Idaho on July 11, 2016. He left his money and hearing aids behind at home and has never been heard from ever again. He may be driving a silver 2003 Pontiac Bonneville with Idaho license plate number 1A7478F. A photo of a similar vehicle is posted with this flyer in the bottom right-hand corner. Police have publicly stated and believe Darwyn is missing under suspicious circumstances. Two of his sons, Mike and Dale Hope, are considered suspects in this case. Police have stated they suspected they helped their father take his own life and then disposed of his body, something his sons have always denied. They maintain their innocence in their father's disappearance, and this case has remained unsolved since. And what you guys don't know is the day before his disappearance, he was actually supposed to get approval for a surgery to help alleviate this pain, and that surgery was delayed. They told him that he couldn't have the surgery because they didn't have approval from his heart doctor because he had a pacemaker in his chest. So because he had the pacemaker, they didn't approve the surgery. And this sent him in a downward spiral drastically. His sons had to go to his home and basically really care for him because they knew he was thinking self-harm. It was really affecting him mentally. After his wife died, Dale became really isolated and depressed. So he disappeared in 2016. His wife died in 1999, which is a 17-year span. So that's a long time, and him becoming isolated makes sense. He was married to her for a long time, and she disappeared. She didn't disappear. She died. So it makes sense that he was isolated and became depressed. That sounds normal to me. But his sons hung out with him every single Saturday, and they went to the same restaurant every Saturday. His sons, Mike and Dale, did that in order to stay in constant communication with their dad, and every Saturday have like a, how are you doing? How can we help you? It was to try to keep his spirits up as much as they possibly could. He suffered from epididymitis in the groin, as well as some other complications that led to extreme physical discomfort for himself. It's been stated that he couldn't sit down for no longer than 30 minutes without medication and so forth. And some of the things that make this case really suspicious is that Dale and Mike discovered his father's hearing aid as well as two of his wallets in his house after he disappeared, and his cane. So he didn't have a cane to walk with, he didn't have his wallets and or his hearing aid. He couldn't hear or communicate at all without these hearing aids. So Darwyn vanished without his hearing aids, without his cane, and without any money whatsoever. What I'd like to do right now is we're gonna get with Peter, and he's gonna help us go over some of the historical mapping as well as satellite images that have helped us rule locations out already, and also draw us into the first location we're gonna be searching today, as well as some GSI mapping that Mike over at Profiling Evil has put together for us. Let's hop right over to it.
So Doug, if we look over here at Mike's map that he sent us, we can clearly see where Darwyn's residence was and the distance to the Lucky Peak Reservoir here.
Okay.
So what makes this interesting is that right now it is September, it is the end of the season, and if we look back at our GIS history, we're down here at Turner Gulch, and we can see in April of 2016 the reservoir levels are relatively high. So if we go one more to September, you can see how much the water level has dropped here at the boat ramp.
Which we're in September now, and we already know that at this location, the water level is down significantly.
Correct. So having this historical data, seeing the difference that the water level was just a couple months prior, it is highly probable that in July, the reservoir could have been letting out more water at the time, and the water level could have been lower than we may have originally thought, which means that his car could be further down into the reservoir.
At the big boat ramp at
the big
Turner Gulch.
Correct.
Because the other boat ramp here over near Middle Cove isn't touching the water at all, and you're not going to get a vehicle into this reservoir off that boat ramp.
Correct.
I mean, you have about 300 yards easily before you get to the water's edge, and it's a rocky, bouldery edge. We know he was driving a 2003 Pontiac Bonneville, so we're not looking for an off-roading truck. This car isn't going to be able to go into that terrain, nor is it going to be able to launch off that particular site as well. Jared and I have already cleared Black Canyon Reservoir. At the time we went there, the water levels were severely low. You could not hide a car in the reservoir, and there was a couple deep pockets which we cleared. So that's why we're not going up to Black Canyon Reservoir, and we had to keep it moving. We didn't have much time in the area. We just were going to come in, we were going to check Black Canyon Reservoir to see if Darwyn was there. Like I said, we weren't filming, and then we kept it on with the trip that Jared and I were on. And so we're back now looking for Darwyn, and we know we've ruled that out. So we're going to focus more along the realm of somewhere closer to where we know he's from. As Peter, you just said, you know, Lucky Peak Lake is by far your #1 choice. It's mine knowing that Black Canyon Reservoir has been ruled out. And if you zoom out a little bit more, we also have another prominent body of water that is of interest, which is a little bit on the other side over here, and I believe it's Lake Lowell or Lowell. I don't know how you pronounce it. How do you pronounce that? You guys leave a comment below. But it's the Deer Flat National Wildlife Refuge. It's a lake there. There's a couple good entry points over there where you could put a vehicle in if this is a self-harm scenario, if this is a assisted scenario. It's my #1, my #2 choice in this case. Like I said, based upon Black Canyon Reservoir being ruled out already.
All right, Doug. Well, let's go get to it. We'll get down to the boat ramp. We'll begin the search.
Nice, I like it. "11 feet deep right here." Getting good imaging. 13, 16. It's a real gradual drop off. We're at 20. Real Really, really good reading. It's smooth. There's not a lot of boulders. Ideal conditions for trying to scan accurately. We're down to 30 feet, 60 feet, 70 feet. I was casting in 75 feet in either direction. I'm gonna have to change it to 125, or we're not gonna be able to scan at all. All right, so we're now casting 125 feet in either direction. Really good down imaging. Live scope is starting, we're at 85 feet on live scope. We're starting to trickle off there. We're out way too far. Car's not gonna make it out this far, which is good. We've gone beyond the distance a vehicle would travel out. 85 feet. Starting to come up a little bit as we work our way in towards the ramp. I'm very confident that this vehicle is not at this boat ramp. Really clean. I'm gonna run some extra passes. We've done some vertical out, in and outs. We're gonna do some we're gonna run some patterns that are perpendicular to the shoreline over here. Get some different scans in. Just to go above and beyond to make sure that we're not missing anything. We're gonna work our way over here to this other boat ramp. It's an older boat ramp, and there's a significant drop off there. It's not a gradual slope. 28 feet, 30 feet, starting to drop back off over here near the boat ramp. 40 feet. I'm gonna change it from 125 down to 90. 29 feet. It's a tough topic. Today's case is a real tough topic. You know, a 92-year-old Darwyn Hope suffering from some very extreme physical problems. No longer has his wife. He's thinking of self-harm. His sons are allegedly suspected by police and others of having something to do with it. Sad. And if it's true that they did, you know, I can't say that. I don't know who am I to be for it or against it. I sympathize with it. I do. I'm not saying I agree with it. It's just a tough topic. It is common for individuals that age that are dealing with difficult lives to want to expedite the process. You know, they're okay with the life that they lived, and they don't have the fear or the apprehensiveness that we would have not having lived our life yet. So I say, like, man, I am in no way placing judgment on anybody at all. You know. So there, on the other side of the lake, there's a cliff where cars are parked up top. Could you drive a car off that cliff? We're gonna go over. We're gonna check it out. And there's a really distinct water line that's about 120 feet above where the water surface is at the moment. And you can clearly see that black water line mark right there halfway up the cliff. 60 feet deep right here. As I'm out, I'm always looking on the shoreline, you know, for different things and so forth, because we found evidence to vehicles on shorelines, vehicles that we were looking for. In a scenario like this where we have a parking lot up top and a drop off and we know water level has changed over 120 feet, you know, it really, really is critical that we're aware of our surroundings and what we're going by. We're looking for a bumper or a license plate or a piece of the engine or something. We're not just recklessly just going around just without looking. You know, I have my eyes open. I'm watching as much as I possibly can watch. It's 21 feet deep right here. Getting some pretty good images. A lot of fish. Good imaging, 31 feet deep. So this portion is clear. What we're gonna have to do now is relocate. We're gonna have to drive the RV.
Doug, you got a copy over? We're over here on the boat ramp and we just spoke with Teresa. She is an old dive master that used to train people out of Central Oregon diving. She just mentioned that there's a possibility that there's quite a bit of cars underneath the old bridge around the bend there.
That's very good information. I'm coming back right now. I love it when we're out because we're able to pick up pieces of information and that you can't get unless you're out here boots on the ground. The type of stuff that we uncover, the type of stuff that we find out, it's really impressive what happens when we're out here working cases and how it all unfolds. It's really, really powerful, really beautiful thing. Always an adventure. Like, even though we're working cold cases, every day is an adventure. We never really know what's gonna happen, how it's gonna unfold, what we're gonna uncover, who we're gonna meet. It's insane. It's really, really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. So as we pull up here to this bridge, there's concrete barriers all the way around where to get a vehicle in here would be the spot. No cars.
So did they just clear this lake?
No, we just cleared this location, which is great. You know, I mean, it's coming into a location that I want to search and seeing there's no water is disheartening. However, I feel good about it because it's a process of elimination. We can rule this out and get to the next location quicker. So, utilizing the tools that we have at our disposal, thanks to you guys. Put the drone in there, boom. We know we don't have to search this location. So as we're pulling into this is like 1,000 yards out. You know, it looks like it appears to be really, really shallow. So putting the drone in the sky and seeing if we can rule it out with the drone, like we just did over there at the bridge, we're gonna do that right now. In fact, the drone's already in the sky. The drone's been following us the whole time.
So it looks like it is not necessarily shallow. It maybe goes out 8 to 12 feet and then it goes dark.
You know, every body of water we get into, we learn. And most importantly, we learn not to assume anything. Because when we think we know something, we don't. When we think something's shallow, there's time. Look at that wall right there we're coming up on. It's a 25-foot wall right there. And anytime we have a wall, gotta be really careful. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to scan this cliff. I need to be right over it, scanning down and out. That way nothing's hidden. See that live scope? I'm just trying to read all of those boulders, making sure there's not a car sitting there on that cliff. I'm pretty sure this ramp is clear. I'm just gonna go back. I want one more view of the cliff and with it out at this angle. So I gotta go back and turn around and come back. All right, good reading. Good reading of the cliff wall there. Beautiful. I don't like what I saw on that one. It looked like there could be a car there. I just need to do that a few more times. Arguably one of the most difficult positions to scan is when you have a cliff like this. So it takes a lot longer. Right, coming up right here. What is that right there? What is that right?
Looks like a boulder.
Yep. Yep. One more slow pass like that. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh. Just on the other side of it. Yeah, beautiful. That's right there what I was looking at. That is... And then I'll get it coming straight in. Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah, so we're gonna scan, because cars pull down here, we're gonna scan the entire shoreline here and that other boat ramp before we leave. So anytime we're in an area like this and you see cars that are pulled down on it, you know that that's a possibility our car could be there. This case in particular is, you know, trying to theorize the why in these cases leads us a lot of times to the where. What may have happened? Who may have done it? You know, it leads us to the where. So we have no choice but to theorize on what happened. And I say that to say, we know he left his hearing aids. He's unable to communicate. He left his cane. It would lead you to believe he's unable to walk properly. He left 2 of his wallets at home. He had 3 wallets. I mean, that's unusual. But he was missing his driver's license and his debit card. No medications were taken. In that scenario, that is suspicious. It is very suspicious, which would lead me to believe he probably did not leave on his own accord. And him leaving was not a good scenario whatsoever. What does it mean? I don't know. It's just not good. What are we looking for? You know, when we're talking about self-harm, we know most of the male cases that we've dealt with self-harm, I mean, they choose the closest, biggest body of water. This is it. You know, his family was thinking, you know, Black Canyon Reservoir. Black Canyon Reservoir is not an option. We've ruled that out. So this is the closest, biggest body of water. Where we're going to go next to Lowell, however you pronounce it, I don't think is a self-harm scenario. I think that is definitely somebody else is involved in this, whatever that means. But why would you take somebody across town to do that? Another aspect of this case is, if you guys listen to the Thin Air podcast that have covered this story already in great detail, as well as Mike King's podcast with Profiling Evil, you'll find out that allegedly one of the sons owned a recycling company, and there was some law enforcement was theorizing that maybe the vehicle ended up in the recycling facility. If that's the case, we'll never find it. That could explain why we don't find it, but we still have areas to search, daylight left. This location right now, this lake, Lucky Peak Reservoir, Lucky Peak Lake is clear. Methodical process of elimination. On to the next. Every search is a successful search. One step closer. Not cars.
What's that?
Not cars.
Not cars, but
Big old like blocks or something.
barrels maybe?
A little big to be barrels. We're over here near the second boat ramp. Now these boat ramps are pretty concealed. They're tucked back in here. There's not a lot of eyes on them. There's a lot of probability for us to find stuff out here. According to a local, well, people dump stuff over here all the time. Really clean bottom. Right here where we're at, it's only 14 feet deep. So if anything's in here, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Oh my God. That is, you're not gonna believe it. Wow. You're not gonna believe this. Right here, I'm looking at somebody that's not subscribed to our channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's free. Please help support what it is we do here at Adventures with Purpose simply by subscribing, watching, sharing these stories so that we can possibly help another family member. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so that you can get an update when videos come out. And if you have the ability to do so, please consider becoming a member. It's a small contribution to help us stay on the road, put gas in the RV as we continue to travel back and forth across the country for 20 weeks a year to help families and law enforcement for free. So hit that subscribe button and possibly consider becoming a member. Thank you. You gotta remember, we're looking for a silver 2003 Pontiac Bonneville. 4 doors. 11 feet deep. It's a big wide boat ramp. This boat ramp's old too. 9 feet deep. Got a little bit of growth here. Nothing too bad. 6 feet deep over here. 3 feet deep. 3 feet, 2 feet. Not hiding a car right here. Getting some really good imaging though. All right, so we cleared these 2 boat ramps. The boat ramp, the next boat ramp's about a mile or so away. So we're gonna go jet back over to the RV and dive unit, load the boat back up, and drive down there so we can save some time. You know, we're really running out of daylight. So we need to stay as efficient with our time management as possible. When somebody has suffered so much and has lived such a long life, is it okay for them to decide when they want to leave this world? And I think that at 92 years old, I support anyone who wants to make that decision. It's a tough decision, especially when you're suffering severely. Is that what we're working with in this scenario? Or did something bad happen to him? Did somebody do something to him at home and dispose of him or his vehicles? Us finding Darwyn, returning him to his family, enables them to close that chapter, to have some answers. If that wasn't the scenario, if he did it on his own, they want to know. They want to know. The law enforcement wants to know. we're out here, we're doing our best, we're ruling out locations. And so far we haven't uncovered anything, but we're not giving up. I mean, even if we have to leave today empty-handed, we're producing a voice for someone who no longer has a voice. So somebody could very well watch this. One of you watching this at home right now has the ability to watch this, and you may know something, and you may reach out and you say, Doug, you know, I've known this, or I know somebody that told me something, or I know something that could help you in your next search for Darwin. So, you know, everything we do is successful. Every search is a successful search. So everywhere I've been in Idaho on different cases, everything's been clear. The level of fishing here in Idaho, I don't know what it is, but they know what they're doing. They know how to read their sonar here in Idaho, because we're not finding anything. I've searched a lot of water in Idaho and haven't found anything. A lot of these rivers are really heavily fished by real aggressive fishermen. That's what I think. Three feet. 3 feet. No car making it in here. Car's not gonna make it out this far with it being that shallow. It's only 6 feet right here where we're at. So too far away. There's a wall up that way. There's another boat ramp that is completely out of the water and exposed over there. There's a couple of slips over here on this side between where we were earlier. They're on really private land, like extremely private. They're not open whatsoever. And it's shallow on this side. I don't know where we go from here. Where do we go from here, Peter? This is the second time we've searched on this case. The most important thing that we can do at this point in this case is to put it in the hands of our supporters, in the public's hands. Maybe there's something that we don't know about this case. Maybe there's somebody that's going to watch this that knows something. Whether it's to help us, point us in a more accurate search location, or they have that X factor. Do they know something about the case? Do they know someone that knows something about the case? This is clear. There's a lot of power behind us being out here and being a voice for the voiceless and telling their story and actually trying to find them. Everything we do is successful, as in we know now, obviously, where Darwin is not. But that doesn't mean he's not out there. It just means he's not where we searched.